And potentially there are all kinds of production classes that you can take, and I suggest learn the producing side of that aspect. The general goal for most of you guys is usually, we were talking about this yesterday, is I want to direct. Everybody wants to be a director. For me, it's kind of reverse. I like producing. I'm an ops guy. I love being behind the scenes. And I kind of love being the boss, I mean, to a sense. I mean, we like having that control. And producing is not the same thing as directing. Producing is having fiscal responsibility. And you need to learn some of this stuff.
So just, I can't believe it's like 35 already.
Oh, are you kidding? No, we started late.
So short, so before we
start like 10-15 minutes
I know, we have to get into questions and stuff, but soon, not now, but soon. But I want to touch on the second half of the panel. So we've been talking about budgeting, and so save your budgeting questions for a second, and let's talk about the financing side. So if anybody cares to reveal those little secrets, whatever, how do you finance your project, or where are some places you would recommend trying to find some money?
Start first with friends and family.
Friends and family.
It's a foundation.
Don't forget about, even though they were friends and family, you still have a fiscal responsibility that they
Oh,
are
yes, you
investors.
do.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't treat them like friends and family. They're no longer your friend and
Yeah.
family. I personally, and I know that is something
Yeah.
I personally never ever touch friends or family, ever.
Well,
Unless I'm giving them a contract and I'm paying them where there's a guarantee or something like that, I
You
don't
don't
do
cross the
that.
friends.
I personally do
That,
that
or
because
get your shoes.
there will be, no matter, even if you could be the most professional person on earth, they will not be, they
Yeah,
will
you do
break
not
that
know
code.
your friend.
And you're my son, or you're my nephew,
you-
you're not doing that, or where's my money? There's a
If they're not
contract in
film
front of you, read
financiers,
it.
also educate them. If they're,
Yes.
Oh, you have to. Let me say this. Keep in mind that any fans, even though Damien and I are friends, if I'm making a film, even if it's a short, and I ask him for money, I have to do it in a certain way. Why? Because it comes under the purview of the Security Exchange Commission and the IRS, and they are looking at us, folks. So you need to learn this. If you don't know this, the two friends you want to get is a CPA, preferably a CPA who's also a tax attorney. And you can do that anywhere. You don't have to go to Hollywood to do this, okay? Or come down to Canada. The other one, you need an entertainment lawyer, not a copyright lawyer, not an intellectual property right lawyer. An entertainment lawyer, hopefully that's franchised. There's a franchise list, meaning they've been vetted by Hollywood. Okay, so either Hollywood or New York. You need, you have to budget for them, okay? Then you can do, then you talk to them, you use them. If you don't know how to do all the stuff we're talking about, find somebody who does and partner with them.
And in that partner, in terms of one of the methods that I utilize that's been successful for me, one of the gentlemen I work with a lot right now is Javier Chapa out of Texas, Hippo Films. The concept here is, it's really tough. I almost turned down a project that I just got added to because I literally told them in an email, I said, I really would love to work on this project, but I have to be completely, I am, honest with you, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted doing EP work for the last 2 years. 14 projects to fund has, I want to focus on something else a little more for now because it takes a lot of energy and effort to focus on getting more money, especially if you already have sources you've used and they're tapped out because they're waiting on their return on investment from some other project. So I always recommend looking at a perfect scenario. Elizabeth Avian, Robert Rodriguez. Okay, everybody knows who Robert Rodriguez is, yeah? Okay, Elizabeth Avian was his wife. They're divorced now. She gave him, kind of like what she did with her husband and her daughter. She gave him $18,000 around the early time when they got married, and he used that $18,000 and created El Mariachi, which later got turned into Desperado.
actually cost 7,000, but.
Which is $18,000. The total
Yeah,
they used for
it's-
everything was $18,000.
It's actually, the book is 7,000.
Yeah, the book was set up.
Yeah, it got,
And then from there on, from there on, it obviously the history. We already know the history. Find one person that you can partner with or that you've done business with. I don't. I have a hard time utilizing friends because it's difficult to separate business from
Yes.
friendship and maintain that.
when money's involved.
But if you find that one person where the chemistry is right, the business common sense is right, that does not infringe or I'm lacking the word. Step all over your creative ability, that works with you and supports what you're doing,
Second partner.
then you can literally produce, you have a source, you produce a movie, you work from that on its own steam, they continue
And
to
that
produce
person
it,
is
and
hard
so
to
on and so
find.
on. That is hard, absolutely, it's hard. But in terms of the independent side, I'm trying to focus more on the independent kind of, because really a lot of the other stuff is
So what other source?
that's what you're gonna
Well,
do. That's one of the strongest things you
well,
can do.
Let's say you're running a.
Start with shorts, start with short films that are smaller budgets.
A low
Yes.
budget Indiegogo
Barely
Kickstarter,
but at least it's.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
you know, if you're gonna, you want contributions from, on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, you have to give to Indiegogo or Kickstarter. You have to work in your film community, whatever city you work in. I live in Seattle.
Yeah.
I've contributed to 13 films. I've worked on other films. You work with your filmmakers, they'll contribute back. You want them to give to you, you have to give to them. Get your actors out there promoting the film, and go to other social events.
Or use your 401k like I did.
Yeah.
Along financing, go ahead, I'm sorry.
But, you know, go to social events, go to film festivals, get out there. You have to network. I hate networking, but I have to do it because that's where I get the money.
Okay, let me say something right off the bat, just because of the crowd I'm talking to. Nolo Press, go purchase all their LLC booklets on how to do LLCs. Do not do money out of your personal accounts. Treat this as a real business, otherwise you will lose your house and car and everything else, okay?
Yeah, do
You
corporate.
do an LLC for every single project you do.
And you can do it yourself for $50.
It's
Some
not
people do it for
expensive,
maybe
okay?
$500.
Having said that, in other sources,
Yeah.
you all have bank accounts,
Yeah.
you all have credit unions. Guess what they do?
Yeah.
Give them money,
Yes.
loans and whatever. What you want to do is, once you establish your LLC and do a bank account, physically go in, talk to the head of the bank, the head of the credit union, hopefully more than one source in the town where you live,
Local film commission.
local film commission, and start your network and say, hey, here's what I want to do. Line of credit is the thing you're looking for. Even if it's $1,000, so let's say I think
Start your LLC?
put $1,000 in a savings account at your credit union or your bank, whatever, and say, will you give me $1,000 line of credit for this? And just keep
Yeah.
adding to that, adding to that.
And if you didn't want
It's
to,
important to put your own, it's important to have your own money, and I mean, last year I did this panel as well, and I arrived late, and the panelists were a completely different panel group, and they were all talking about different methods of financing, and I walked in and they said, oh, how did you finance your film? And I went in, and I threw all these credit cards on the table, and I said, there's a lot of people out there that are like, are you absolutely crazy to blow this many credit cards on projects and equipment and whatnot? And I went, yes. And I threw them on the table, and they scattered everywhere. There's people trying to grab them, but they're all full at the time, so but here's the thing. Here's what this has done for me. Okay, so yes, there was an interest paid out at some point. I kept it low because I was quick and I worked my ass off to keep them low. There was an interest payout on this, and yes, I blew a lot, basically like pretty much a good mortgage on my projects and things. But the result of this was, now that I am a television producer, one of the things that the financiers give me money for, and they say that they found the most endearing about me, is that I wasn't afraid to put my own ass on the line to the end of the line. Basically, I'm sinking with Titanic here, and this is like Titanic. I'm sinking with Titanic, and so they see that as an artist, and they go, okay, I guess if you're willing to basically fall to the end of everything because of the fact that you're taking such a big risk, then they're going to put the money into you because you're going crazy with it. And it's not like $1,000 is a good investment, and that's good enough too. I'm talking about a higher level, not even higher level. I hate using the term higher level. A different level for me, for like a more risky level.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with using your credit card. You got it.
Yeah.
You're just short. You have
Don't
the
be
film
afraid of that.
95% completed, and you just need that extra dollar.
Don't be afraid of that.
And I'll give you a method to double down on that the industry uses, even if you're like Universal or Warner Brothers. So you go into Laser Cameras, is like one of the big suppliers on the West Coast, right? And it's where we get all our equipment, lighting, cameras, whatever. Start a line of account with them.
Go for it.
Pay it on that thing. So you already got a time payment on it.
They love
On
you.
there.
They
So-
want you.
And they know you are an established customer, so you aren't just Joe Schmo walking in the door,
Yeah.
trying to get light panels set for your seat that you're going to rent for a day. You're somebody that they do business with long term, so they like it. So you're spreading that cost out, and then you're spreading that
But
cost
they
out
love you.
again.
The credit card companies and stuff love you. If you make your minimum payments and
Let
don't
me-
worry about the debt, they love you because you know, whatever. So they'll give you the credit. And don't worry about being in debt for a while. This is a long haul for you, right? If you
You're
have a
gonna
maxed out credit card, you're paying your minimum payments to keep it sustained.
Yeah.
It's okay because you have your project in plan.
Let me offer just another perspective
Yes, okay.
side of it, just because it's very tempting to go down that road. I am a female filmmaker. I am very rare. To the point when I said I wanted to make films, I was told that I can't because it's only made by 40 or 50-year-old men in Hollywood. So my whole thing is I've been told that this is extremely risky, that you're never going to make money, that your films aren't going to be seen anywhere. This is how I was brought up with wanting to do what I want to do. So I tried to do everything as low risk in a extremely high risk business. The way that I set things up is I want to keep making films. That's my goal. I want to make another one. I don't want one to break me because I can't afford to have one to break me. I just personally can't. So what I do is I set up a budget and a spec sheet and a marketing plan and everything of this film will cost this much. I project it to make approximately this much, lowballing it to say, well, that money will pay for the next movie. All my movies pay for the next movie.
What you're willing to risk will not break you.
I personally can't let it break me.
Because that is two ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
That's right, no,
I would love to go Wells in, but I have 2 children and a mortgage and I can't.
I'm with you.
I can't let it break me, I just can't.
Going back to that, if you do have an investor, you know,
Yeah.
you need to talk to them. About 7 years ago, we had a lot of big dollar investors, and they got burned by the filmmakers. And where did all the money go after that? We've been dry, really, with the big investors for about 5 years, because it all went into pockets. Nobody wanted to invest in any big film. They're coming back with money again, even though it's kind of low economy. But you got to talk to these. You got to let them know it's high risk. You know, another thing you can do is, you know, you can work on donations. And if you are doing a donation, your approach an investor, you know, one of the things you can do is have them donate it through an umbrella corporation. We have the Northwest Film Forum. They can donate it and get a tax donation. Northwest Film Forum will give you the check for, they write a check for $1,000 to Northwest Film Forum. The donor gets a tax deduction. You won't get it through Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So if you go through that, like this umbrella corporation, they get a tax deduction. Northwest Film Forum puts $100, you get $900 of it. So, you know, you can sell it to big
And if you don't have one in your community,
Advertising.
So
We did advertising, but we actually had people give us money for quote-unquote advertising for on our website and our t-shirts. That was completely, that was written off.
So in the fashion of some of these panels can just fly by, we're now at the 15-minute mark. Just to summate, you know, so we have multiple different levels of how to get money into your projects, and all of them are awesome. And all of them come into play at different stages of your life, so don't be afraid to step into all of them at some point or the other. With that being said, we're going to open up the audience for any questions for any of the people up here, or generally all of them, and I think we're probably only going to get through 2 or 3 the way we rock it. So.
You had mentioned LLC, but did you say for every project, like?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even sometimes
It
multiple.
would
Well,
be
so-
Ingenue
He also
LLC.
mentioned
I have
the no price
an
of the books.
umbrella LLC.
You don't necessarily have to do the books, like to buy a bunch of the books. There's another option that exists right now that's actually really good for the indie side. If you've ever heard of a company like LegalZoom,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
definitely
Yes.
not lawyers, but they do have a very simple questionnaire scenario
Yes.
for the entertainment industry. And it's inexpensive. It's like $45 to go through the entire process. And if you complete the process, it's somewhere like $300 or $400 literally to do an LLC that completely protects you.
So-
They basically ask you question by question by question. Again, so that's something you
So-
do.
Just throw that in cost of the budget.
Okay,
They call it,
but just so basically, you're gonna have your production company incorporated, but then you also incorporate the film,
For each
the
film.
web
Yes.
series.
Absolutely.
Well,
in Illinois.
Are you talking about each episode or something?
Well,
No, I'm talking.
for a web series, it would just be
Each
Yeah,
individual
yeah,
IP,
Sorry.
each individual IP.
Okay.
In Illinois, just real quick to comment on that, I don't know how it is in other states, they have this series LLC, where you can actually,
Yeah.
you have, it's an umbrella built in to itself, so you can have one
Yeah,
Less
LLC,
expensive.
and you pay a little bit more when you first,
yeah.
you pay a little bit more when you first start your LLC,
Yeah.
but then after that, it's really cheap to start.
LLCs
Younger
vary by
LLC.
state by state. I
Right.
should say.
Yes.
And
It's in
less
Illinois. I don't know how it is.
expensive than that, but very specifically different based on state as well, as you have your production company as an LLC, but each individual property can also be a DBA of that LLC.
Sorry.
Doing business acts.
Yeah.
And it'll also have the same protection of the LLC without essentially encroaching on any of the others.
Which usually has a line fee of maybe $40.
I can't afford an LLC, so I have a DBA.
Yeah,
Okay, good. This one's still good. All right,
Do
yeah.
you have any
I want an
questions?
LLC.
We'll finish talking.